you've heard from James saying, go get the book, the Acres Homes, the FOFO, past, present, and future.
That's right.
So James, what was your motivation behind doing this book?
My motivation was, well, actually you motivated me, Priscilla. I think I wanted to, well, everybody, I don't know, a lot of people don't know, I was doing some research on my laptop one night, and it was late. I guess I ate some bad pizza or whatever else. It was real late, and I was just doing some research, and God had given to me to do a book. We really need to do a book about Acres Home, because I kept going online and was trying to research just interesting things about my neighborhood, and I couldn't find it, or I would find something that would be on different sites. And so next thing you know, in my research, I saw that there was a book created called Acreage Homes. And I was like, let me see about this book. What's going on? Somebody actually wrote a book or something like that. I said, somebody stole my idea. Nah, just saying. And man, and I found Priscilla, and I literally became in tears, and I started to cry because I started doing research about Priscilla, and Priscilla was talking about Freemanstown and the black experience and the settlements of black people, and that's what you truly inspired me. And I said, you know what, a guy right there said, I need to sow a seed. I need to sow a seed, and I wanted to be a part of what she was doing, and she inspired me to do more information, or seek more information about where I'm from. And if that, you know, that answers the question. That was the beginning of that, and I guess that was back in what, 2016, and here we are in 2018, and we still doing it, and now it's manifested, and so it was a blessing.
Yeah, so we started in 2016 to do it. Then James fell off the radar, and he just came back at the end of 2017, and here we are in 2018 with the Manifested Project.
Amen.
With everything right here. But the thing is when James actually decided to sow a seed in me, I actually was getting ready to quit and stop doing this because people were not believing in, or couldn't get people to understand what I was doing and how important it was. And so when he did that, that motivated me to continue. So to date, I've actually documented 20 freedom colonies, but I've been to 44, and I have the documentation as far as the pictures and everything. Just haven't had the time and the process to just actually put it in books yet. But it is coming, most definitely.
So what is one of the things that you say by doing this project that stood out to you?
Well, you know, we did this project together, but then, you know, also I was blessed enough to get a grant in order to do an exhibit in Acres Homes. But the one thing, like you were saying, is about the people. Before, when I was actually doing research, I mostly just did research on places and things. I really didn't talk to a lot of people because I didn't want to be influenced by what they had to say.
That's right.
But with the exhibit, I got a chance to meet a lot of people.
That's right.
And my exhibit really was about the people of Acres Homes.
That's good.
No, mostly just eliminated all the places and things and just concentrated on the people.
Was there a common theme that we saw? I guess I'm interviewing
a common
theme that you found in the people of Acres Home that made us stand out? Because I know you've done research on all of our colonies and settlements, and you said there's about 44?
Well, I've been to 44. It's more than that. I've only been to 44, which is a very small number. In Texas, when there's supposed to be identified over 550. But anywhere where African Americans lived at a certain period of time between 1865 and the Civil Rights Movement, those really were freedom colonies, because that's the only place that you could actually live. But I only go up to 1917 because the laws changed again after 1917.
Well, you know, in the community it's a little bit competitive sometimes. So people will say, oh, the 4-4 is different than 5th Ward. So when you was doing research and pulling the history of these different colonies and stuff, did you just see a common thread? Was it always pretty much every community the same? Did they have the same things going on? Or was there a defined difference in each community that you went to?
Well, they're all different, but they're all similar also. When you actually look at the electrical wires, the length, how they hang down in certain communities, those are in communities of color mostly. When you look at some of the structures and housing, they're very similar because you know it's from a certain period of time. So those things are consistent when we're talking about the cemeteries all those things in the churches. Those things are very similar in all the neighborhoods, because if you can find a church in a cemetery, you kind of know where the heart of that freedom colony is.
That's right.
Because that's where it is, because the church was the center of the community. And in today's society, the church has lost its way. It's no longer the center of the community. You know, because when back in the day, they lived around the church, so they had access, they could walk to church.
That's right.
Now people are driving in from outside of the community to the church.
So you're saying when they, back then in the community, the church was the central part of the community?
Yes, everything.
So they go to the church for everything. All services and everything else?
Yes, social, that was our social outlet. Yeah. And so now the church is no longer that. But Acres Homes has like hundreds of churches.
That's right.
they have
Look out for the next book. We do 100 churches of Acres Homes. That's a good idea. We need to do that book. Yeah, so that's a lot of rich history in that, and I think we put that into the book as well, where about the cornerstone of the church, and how the cornerstone of the community was the church. And so we want to identify and kind of give a snippet of our faith-based history in our community, and how strong our faith was in the community from our the original settlers.
Yeah, I was trying to find a picture of like some of the churches. These are just pictures of some of the churches, and it's only about 70 or 80 inside the book, but there's more than that. It's over 100 churches in there.
There's a part in the book I want to read too, and if you talk about the different settlements and who were these people, I don't think we define who were the people who originally settled Acres Home. And I know in the book we kind of during our research, and we put this in the book, that the people who came to us, and I'm going to read a little bit of the book, and say, as a result, in 1910, working class families, laborers, farmers, waterfront workers, carpenters, domestic, military, and factory workers, filled with hope and self-pride, began to migrate and purchase property platted for African Americans approximately 10 miles northwest of downtown from the developer Alfred A. Wright. That's Acres Home.
Yes, it was a safe haven. It was the place. It was outside the city. It wasn't in the city. As you know, the city of Houston Police Department had a horrible reputation when it came to dealing with African Americans. We're also dealing with Jim Crow, segregation, the KKK, all these types of things. And this was a place where they actually could feel safe and raise their families. And just anybody just didn't come into Acres Homes. It was a community, it was strong. And Acres Homes, another thing that I found actually taking pictures and doing the exhibit, all these men, they're always talking about that black men don't work and black men are not this and that. But most of my pictures are of men.
That's right.
I have very few. I have very few pictures of women.
That's right.
They're mostly of men.
You sure you weren't doing that on purpose? Now?
No, honestly, I didn't do it on purpose. It's just, and when I look back at it and I was doing it, I said, why have all these pictures of all these men? And so you have men from the lowest to the highest level of any socioeconomic status.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that stand out to me by doing research on Acres Home was just the pride and the spirit, because you have to have vision to be a settler that coming from, we talked about it and we brushed about it, about the discrimination from the police department during that time of the early 1900s. And to be an ordinary, what we may consider an ordinary person, to be a farm worker or to be a ship, a ship hand or a shipmate, those type of regular people came with pride and with a vision to come into a community that was really just, I guess, a rural area, a rural area, my man, from Acres Home. But to just have a vision to build, and I think you even touched on one of the paragraphs that you've written about how other people would talk about the area wasn't developed properly. About the construction and stuff working, the houses wasn't done good. But that's why I said it was it was country. But these folks did their own building. They built their own houses. They farmed their own land. They built sewer lines and wells and everything else. And so they had a vision that they looked and saw the resources that they had at hand, utilized those resources to build their dreams. And I believe that theme is what we want to pass on, and that should be the legacy of our book that we've written. So,
but here's another thing about that when we're talking about what they built a lot of people say, well, if they built everything back in the day, why do this group of people houses look like mansions and big and it's like this, and they're the people who did it? Well, they were probably buying their supplies.
That's right.
Most often, African Americans, they took whatever they could find
That's right.
in order to make their houses.
That's
so
right.
they didn't
so
need
the scraps of others.
the scraps of others,
yeah,
most
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Most definitely.
So it was just other building sites that they'll be probably working on.
And they take it home.
And they had the leftovers and then they had bills. So now
Yes.
you wonder why one side of the house was red and the other side of the house was blue and stuff like that. But you can't get away. That was the tangible thing, the tangible thing that they built with their hands. But again, that spirit still lies today. You know, I read earlier in the book how the community gathered together. So they had prominent individuals, I call them icons of our community, who got together and started the first black-owned bus line. And we wrote about it in the book. But it started having financial troubles as we read and we did our research. It started having some financial troubles, but they didn't go outside of the community to seek help. The community galvanized together, brought together their resources. So the average Joe put together $100 and stuff like that, and they started an investment association to help out to sustain the bus company and the business. And so I think those parallels is what we can do today. You know, we have icons in our community, a lot of advocates in our community who are doing some big things in our community, and now it's time for us to galvanize, each one of us get together and take our community to the next level. And that's what we're doing, and that was the purpose of this book, isn't it, Priscilla?
Yes.
So we're wanting to help build on that foundation of getting ourselves together, building and unifying ourselves, like with a nonprofit like Neighborhood United, just coming together. And this book is doing that. This book is a part of that too. So we thank you again, Priscilla.
Don't forget to get the book.
I thank
Acres
you.
Homes, Acres Home, the book.com.
.com. AcresHomeTheBook.com is where you can pre-order the book. Be on the lookout. We are launching Acres Home TV. So all of these informational videos of the community, things going on in the community, you'll be able to launch on our TV station. We'll be launching that along with the book. And so be on the lookout. We're going to have a big launch, big releasing party in February, Black History Month. But before then, you can be able to obtain this book by going to our website and pre-ordering. Have this book in your hand within 2 weeks. Go to AcresHomeTheBook.com. AcresHomeTheBook.com. So we do have our own book where you can get your information from. Check it out.